You've tried everything to lower your heartbeat. You've taken deep breaths. You've tried to distract yourself. But the panic attack, or that devastating anxiety taking your breath away due to work or relationship issues, has hit you head-on. After the wave passes, you sit there feeling drained, and suddenly, you notice something that paralyzes you even more than the initial anxiety. Your baby, who until 2 hours ago seemed like a tireless acrobat, has completely stopped. Still, a deafening silence in your belly. Hours pass and you don't feel a kick. You start tensing up again, imagining the worst. What if your negative emotions caused irreversible trauma? Most rushed neuropediatricians or parenting websites offer you all the same identical verdict or quick reassurance. It's just a coincidence. Babies in the womb sleep a lot. Or the much more guilt-inducing stress crosses the placental barrier and the baby suffers thermal shock. All of this sounds terribly logical and clinically cold. Here is what is actually going on. Those two types of explanations are severely wrong. One is a useless attenuation. The other is a condemnation with no biological foundation. To understand the truth behind that unsettling intrauterine silence, we need to consult those who analyze fetal neuroimaging and ancestral development. We need to go back to the silent architecture of the neurological synapse. When an adult experiences a moment of acute terror or panic, the brain floods the bloodstream with supreme cortisol and epinephrine, the fight or flight hormone. This surge is chemically measurable. Blood pulls away from the extremities, and the heart rate skyrockets. Now, the fetus is literally navigating in your converted blood. It feels that signal as if an alarm siren were blaring at ear-shattering volume inside the amniotic fluid. The dominant theory held that in that miserable instant, the baby went into an involuntary state of collapse or traumatic freeze out of fear. But high-resolution 2018 scanners tracking maternal fetal dynamics under stress reveal a divinely engineered schema. The fetus is not traumatized in that moment of stillness. The fetus is literally processing the most intense architectural construction operation of its entire day. When there's a massive influx of cortisol into the placental environment, to evolution, it means there is a very grave danger outside. A predator, winter famine, a primordial attack. If the fetus were to respond by moving convulsively, it would waste vitally important glucose and oxygen. But evolution plays a much more subtle and sophisticated game than we think. The placenta releases a metabolizing enzyme, 11-beta-HSD2, that literally acts like a sponge wall, knocking down over 90% of that cortisol you are terrified of. What gets through to the fetus isn't terror, it's a moderate signal coded as, "Mom is fighting, economize energy." The fetus stops superfluous movements, the gymnastics to test skeletal muscles, and magically diverts all the hyperflow of blood and oxygen in exactly one and only one direction, to the construction of the neocortex. While you think you've traumatized or frozen it, it is using that moment of chemical alert to silently build the architecture of the receptors that, tomorrow, in real life outside the womb, will manage those exact environmental stresses. That's why they stop moving. They aren't curling up in despair. They are retreating into the cerebral construction site, allowing you to deal with the monster out there, which evolution thinks you are facing, and using this signal to calibrate exactly how vigilant or resilient they will need to be upon birth. It's an awe-inspiring data download, but here is the hard pill to swallow, or the level where research describes this fact in an extremely lucid and ruthless way. If this silence and these cortisol apneas occurred every single day without any respite, if the crying or the stress never relaxed and never reverted to a state of peace, then yes, the sponge wall of 11-beta-HSD2 collapses. The fetus is forced to archive the signal not as an event to seek protection from in order to grow, but as the permanent baseline state of the universe. Its vigilant system becomes chronic before birth, burning precious resources that should instead go to the lobes tied to emotional control or creative learning. So that temporary silence is not a bug. It's prehistoric biology working for you. 15 or 20 minutes of deafening silence after you cried desperately on the couch. That is a masterpiece of defense architecture in action. You are not just a pregnant woman crushed by work panic or stress. You are not defective. You are literally providing, unknowingly and without voluntary effort, the chemical foundation by which your child will know how to survive fear. You are intercepting the shock on their behalf. You are the barrier and the biological blueprint of the entire neural ecosystem. Every moment you recover, every moment you drink water and your heart calms down an hour after that attack, your blood chemistry releases pure oxytocin into the uterine stream, and the fetus registers that the storm has been won, usually celebrating it with sidekicks. Resilience lies in the recovery, and you are teaching them recovery now, in utero. Never bear the weight of this myth of the perfect Zen mother who shouldn't feel anxiety lest she slowly assassinate her child. Evolution conceived your pregnancy over 50 million years not in muffled psychiatric offices, but in lethal primordial environments. There was predation, drought, ruthless winters, chronic anxiety. Your child is a machine forged specifically to withstand this, supported by the marvel that is your placenta and its enzymatic release. Just stay there the next time they go quiet after a crisis. Breathe. Feel their steady presence. They are not suffering permanent damage. They are simply giving you the ground to calm down while using your signals to do a cortical upgrade. If this just lifted a huge burden off your shoulders and brutally changed how you judge an anxiety attack in pregnancy, join the club, subscribe, and leave me a comment. Have you ever felt guilty feeling your belly motionless after a fight? In the next episode of this neurobiological exploration, I will show you exactly, in the light of modern scans, how the fact that you can't stand your partner for days during pregnancy has evolutionary roots so dark they will make you smile. Don't turn off your brain now. The biology of pregnancy has just started to flip your reality upside down.